Hello. This month's book for this month's good read is a book by Anne Morrow Lindbergh, and it's called Gift from the Sea. Very special book to me, this one. I seem to say that every month, but this is particularly special. Mainly because my mother read a piece from this at my wedding, and so that means a lot to me. So I want to share it with you. And Anne Morrow Lindbergh was an American writer and a pilot as well, and she was the first woman to receive the National Geographic Prize, I think the Hubbard Prize. She was also the first woman to receive a glider pilot's license in the USA, so that was quite something. She had a very long life. She was born in 1906 and she died in 2001 at the age of 94. So a very varied life. She had some very sad events in her life as well. Her and her husband lost their first child. The first child was actually kidnapped and eventually murdered at 20 months of age. That was Charles Lindbergh. And that was their first child, but then they went on to have 5 more children. So she had 6 children altogether. In this book, Gift from the Sea, she writes about, she's reflecting on life and relationships, particularly from a woman's perspective. It's about really some time she spent by the sea, on her own, staying in a hut and walking along the seashore, picking up shells, thinking about her life and about relationships in particular and how they changed throughout her life, particularly the marriage relationship. And she was using shells to represent each stage of relationships as she saw it. And her wisdom really, and what she's written, has stood the test of time, and it's still a very popular book today. So I'm going to look at the key themes that this book covers. I'll read a little bit from it and see what you think. She wrote the book in the 1950s. The first theme that comes through is the importance of solitude, the importance of taking time to be on your own and to reflect on things, and that's one of her main themes. I think the thing is, in our really fast-paced world, it's so easy to get caught up in all the hustle and bustle and not to take any time just to really reflect on things and think about how we're actually feeling and how we're actually experiencing life. She's saying that by taking the time to be on our own, we can bring clarity to our lives and some perspective and get more in touch with our priorities. And the second theme that runs through the book is the importance of trying to find balance in our lives, to have balance between all the areas, and particularly as a woman, I think this is something women can particularly relate to, especially modern women nowadays, when you're trying to juggle your house, your family, your work, and what you do, and finding balance in all of that, your relationships, especially relationship with your partner. And so it's quite difficult to find balance in that. So that's something that she explores in the book, another theme that is really important to her. And the final key theme, as I see it anyway, is relationship. And she talks a lot about relationship, and particularly marriage relationship, and how you can maintain that through the years with all the changes that inevitably happen within that. It's looking at the very sort of initial relationship as very pure, in some ways simple, because it's just that sort of romantic attraction part of it, and then how that develops through life, through the process of getting to know each other better, having children, and then moving into middle age. And she was approaching middle age when she wrote this book, but she did actually add another little bit. I think more recent versions have another bit that she revisited it in her older age as well. So they're the sort of key themes of the book. I'm going to read a little bit now from the book itself, and it's a little bit about solitude. She writes a lot more about solitude, but there's this particular little bit, just to give you a flavour of the way she writes and how it sounds. Very easy to read. It's a short book. You can read it very quickly. Okay, so talking about solitude, she's saying, "It is a difficult lesson to learn today, to leave one's friends and family and deliberately practice the art of solitude for an hour or a day or a week. For me, the break is the most difficult. Parting is inevitably painful, even for a short time. It is like an amputation, I feel. A limb is being torn off, without which I shall be unable to function. And yet, once it is done, I find there is a quality to being alone that is incredibly precious. Life rushes back into the void, richer, more vivid, fuller than before. It is as if, in parting, one did actually lose an arm. And then, like the starfish, one grows it anew. One is whole again, complete and round, more whole even. than before, when the other people had pieces of one. For a full day and 2 nights I have been alone. I lay on the beach under the stars at night alone. I made my breakfast alone. Alone I watched the gulls at the end of the pier dip and wheel and dive for the scraps I threw them. A morning's work at my desk, and then a late picnic lunch alone on the beach, and it seemed to me, separated from my own species, that I was nearer to others. The shy willet nesting in the ragged tide wash behind me, the sandpiper running in little unfrightened steps down the shining beach rim ahead of me, the slowly flapping pelicans over my head, coasting downwind, the old gull hunched up, grouchy, surveying the horizon. I felt a kind of impersonal kinship with them, and a joy in that kinship. Beauty of earth and sea and air meant more to me. I was in harmony with it, melted into the universe, lost in it, as one is lost in a canticle of praise, swelling from an unknown crowd in a cathedral. Praise ye the Lord, all ye fishes of the sea, all ye birds of the air, all ye children of men, praise ye the Lord. Yes, I felt closer to my fellow men too, even in my solitude. For it is not physical solitude that actually separates one from other men, not physical isolation, but spiritual isolation. It is not the desert island nor the stony wilderness that cuts you from the people you love. It is the wilderness in the mind, the desert wastes in the heart, through which one wanders, lost and a stranger. When one is a stranger to oneself, then one is estranged from others too. If one is out of touch with oneself, then one cannot touch others. How often in a large city, shaking hands with my friends, I have felt the wilderness stretching between us. Both of us were wandering in arid wastes, having lost the springs that nourished us, or having found them dry. Only when one is connected to one's own core is one connected to others, I am beginning to discover. And for me, the core, the inner spring, can best be refound through solitude. Yeah, I'm not going to read any more of the book because I think that gives enough of an idea, and yeah, that's really good. I think there's so many good bits like that in this book that I really hope you actually do seek it out and take the time to read it, maybe buy it for other people. So it's Gift from the Sea by Anne Morrow Lindbergh. Hope you enjoy it. If you like these videos, there's a couple more here. I'm making one a week, and subscribe if you want to see more of them. Ring the bell if you want to be notified when I make them, but I usually publish them on a Friday. Okay. Again, anything you want to let me know, any comments, any thoughts, please put them in the comments down below. It's really good to have some communication. Okay, thank you. Bye.